Why IP? If you look at in 2020, the S&P's 84% of the value for S&P 500 is tied to intangible assets, and those intangible assets are protected by intellectual property and the legal rights. How did we get here? So let's go to the next slide. So as you saw in the previous slide, S&P value is very strongly tied to the IP. When we look at historically, about 45, 50 years back in 1975, tangible assets like plants, factories, inventory, products, those were the most important aspect of the overall valuations of companies and S&P at large. And even the top 5 companies at the time were more focused on that kind of mix. As we fast forward decade over decade and come to 1990s, which was the beginning of the digital era or the digital economy with widespread use of computing and the birth of internet, we see that we became slowly and surely knowledge economy, and the valuation of companies evolved from tangible assets to intangible assets. And as we move in the present time, we find ourselves in the context of overall value of company overwhelmingly being supported by intangible assets and IP. If you look at the top 5 companies on S&P today, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, all of them, over 90% or close to 90% of their value is actually in their IP and intangible assets. It should be noted that in 2012, when Facebook went public, in their S1 filing, they had this sentence at the bottom that if we are unable to protect our intellectual property, the value of our brand and other intangible assets may be diminished, and our business may be adversely affected. As you recall, in 2012, Facebook was the largest IPO in the history with $100 billion in valuation.